the best crypto asset?
Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. There's no second best.
I'm the only guy in the world that's got both a Bitcoin tattoo and a Luna tattoo. You know, I met Doe, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. He is a brilliant young man. And he had this idea of an algorithm stablecoin.
FTT, that is the token of FTX. Sam Bankman-Fried, everything this man touches turns to gold.
At Celsius, we don't lock you up. We always act in your best interest.
Terra blockchain, this is halted, meaning basically no economic activity can go on here.
Fuck me! What the fuck?
Hey, Doe, I just wanted to let you know jail's not that bad. It's not the worst thing ever.
Cards are $99, which doesn't sound like very much for what you're getting.
Goes to the moon.
But Sam is not a traditional billionaire because he believes in the concept of earn to give.
I didn't get $100,000 left in my bank account.
Trying to think of a good example of a trade where I've lost a ton of money.
Oh, it went to zero! Yeah!
Finance is a massive, unregulated global monopoly now. They put FTX out of business.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stake. Got me some hedge on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning. 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 Crypto in the morning.
Happy New Year's in 2023.
Is it 2023 right now?
2023. 2022 was a epic year. Think about
best year of my life.
Yes.
By mile.
And 2023 is going to blow 2022 out of the water easily.
And if it doesn't, my God, I'm ready for the fight. I don't even care anymore. I don't even give a shit. I'm ready for war. And like seriously, because things can happen on the negative just as good as the positive when people are making crazy moves that are not legal and stuff. Or, you know, against the Constitution, as we say over here. Sam, I want to get right into the nuts and bolts of it. If you're in here and you've never watched this show before, we're going to get into like basically, if you want us to be honest, the brass tacks, the VIP exclusive cryptocurrency that this show basically tells people at a baseline to buy is Ethereum. Sam, do you recommend your adult friends with money buy Ethereum sometimes on occasion if you run into them?
Over the holidays, I was talking to a buddy and he started putting money into crypto. And I was telling him about LP and stuff like that. And he got into the LP, but then he felt a sort of way as it flipped from one side to the other. And I was like, dude, you don't need to do LP. Just buy Ethereum. You'll be good. You'll be good. Buying Ethereum every month, buy another $1,000, $500 of Ethereum.
Yeah, especially if it goes to $250 for any God bless it, it gets down that low. It might not. Ethereum merge. Look, actually, I want to stop us right there. We're not allowed to talk. I mean, we are allowed, but we're not going to talk about the price yet because there's so much nuance there if you have not been sticking around. Like, I'm not willing to just bring up the price because so many dramatic things have changed with Ethereum this year. And people really don't even know. They kind of know because we did all those ETHW episodes. It was kind of a big deal, but it's a bear market. So people just, whatever. But that's not the case with the Ethereum chart for burn just heading down to zero in negative, and Ethereum's already been appreciating. It's the best asset, and it's the most liquid. It's the most exchangeable, probably. Yeah, the fees are tough, but that kind of adds to the value of the system in a way. That's what more mature investor in a way. You know what I mean?
Serious people will assume. So there's a study they did with bottle of wine. They told you, here's a $50 bottle of wine, glass of wine. Let us know what you think of it. Here's a $1,000 bottle of glass of wine. Now, try both of those and let us know what you think. Inevitably, and they've repeated the study multiple times. The $50 bottle of wine, hey, yeah, that's good and whatever. But the $1,000 bottle of wine, you imagine how much smoother that is, the $1,000 bottle of wine. The flavors are just jumping into your palate and singing praises of joy with how delicious it is, right? And what they told them afterwards, it was the same bottle of wine. So the idea that you can take away from that is that the greater the price somebody pays, the more value they get because of this. They create a different story here, right? Oh, the flavor palette is just jumping with joy in their mouth. They can taste the oak in the wine because they're just creating the story here, even though it's the same thing. So when you think about this for Ethereum, right, versus say Binance or Ethereum versus anything else, Ethereum has higher prices in terms of fees. So in people's minds, automatically, it's more valuable.
Well, and because poor people won't play there. You know, sometimes at a country club, it's not necessarily that no one else plays golf, but it's that you're not big money guy. You go to the biggest country club if you're the big money guy who plays golf. Not necessarily matter if you're that good at golf, right? But it has a little thing about it. But we're kind of just bullshitting because if you just look at the volume, the per transaction on Ethereum 24-hour, how much the USD per transaction is extremely high comparatively to the other blockchains. Like we're talking extremely, like 6 times more money per transaction or something.
$350 million over the last 24 hours, which remember was New Year's for a lot of the world. If you're living on planet Earth, 350 million. And if we look up, let's see, BSC is about 147. So more than double what BSC is. And BSC has like 5 times the transactions.
And BSC has the 3rd highest used stablecoin in the history of cryptocurrency too. So don't forget that. Like they have a stablecoin over there that is very liquid and very large and very everywhere. And that in Ethereum USDC, yes, Tether, yes. Those are going to be the primarily traded assets on the platform, but that doesn't make a difference. It's about how much money people are putting onto the damn thing. And because it means a lot in crypto because people really move their money quick. Anyway, I want to talk about the merge for a second, and I want to give a shout out. Well, these guys have extremely high follower counts compared to my accounts, but that's not really in crypto. It's weird because people kind of go through ebbs and flows. But like this dude, if you're watching this dude on a daily basis, you're making an extremely good decision. Period.
Well, tell us who this guy is.
This is the Daily Gwei. Everyone knows him in the chat. The Daily Gwei. That's his show. It's just called The Daily Gwei. He does Ethereum updates every single day. The Daily Gwei. This is just a clip from someone else's thing. I don't exactly, Sam, I just dig up all these videos. I don't know where they come from. I feel horrible, guys, that I'm not good at accrediting people, but I usually have like a 50th of the followers that they have, so I don't really care. Maybe I should care, but I don't really care. And I feel bad sometimes because I'm like, man, these guys do a lot of good work, and I kind of just hawk them. But in this day and age, Sam, I think it's important to know, like, when people use my stuff, like Jack posts all my videos, and I'm like, thank you, sir. Thank you. Like, I'm glad there's 100 people that follow me because you posted that. Thank you.
Correct. And it's not necessarily that you get the credit for it.
I'm not even tagged. I don't even care. I'm in there, baby, like swimwear, baby.
When you just have more people who see your shit, it's valuable. Period. Like it's just the value accrues back to you, sometimes very quickly, sometimes more slowly. But if 100 people who see my shit decide to chop it up and or share it with somebody else, that's tremendously valuable. Even if they take my name and shit out of it, but they see me, they understand me, they hear my voice, they hear the ideas, the perspective that I'm sharing. That is valuable, and that value accrues back eventually. So
if you feel like what you say is valuable, which I do. Generally, I don't remember anything that I say during those things, nor do I watch them back. But I'm pretty damn sure I'm prepared and ready to at least say something that makes logical sense, moving like in the conversation, and keep a good conversation moving. Anyway, biceps in the chat for the Daily Gway. I'm going to start shouting people out more and tagging their stuff and putting in more effort, because I think that's proper.
That was negative, and then we had the merge, which was like the most positive event in Ethereum's history, happening among all that negative that was happening to the rest of the crypto ecosystem. And I know in Bitcoiner land, they love to make this distinction between like Bitcoin and crypto, right? And as much as I kind of hate them for doing that because they put Ethereum in the crypto bucket and they don't never make the distinction about Ethereum, I think there's something to that, because there's a lot of crypto that is hot air, that is just crap, right? We've seen a lot of it blow up, and there are things that are kind of labeled crypto that shouldn't be, like a lot of these CeFi services that people say, oh, this is crypto. It's like, no, it's not crypto, right? It's kind of a service that works with crypto, but it's not what we know as crypto, right? The on-chain stuff that we do, the networks behind this industry. So I think from that perspective, sometimes the Bitcoiners have a point that there should be a little bit of a distinction there between those things. But in saying that, I think on top of all of that as well, in terms of market action, yeah, I mean, it's quite surprising to an extent of like how, I guess, resilient ETH has been. I think for a lot of people, it's not surprising to me, I should be clear. Like I fully expected it to play out like this, given the position ETH is in right now, not just on the fundamental side, but also with EIP 1559 and the merge having that massive issuance reduction, which definitely impacted ETH's performance this bear market. I mean, without that, I think post FTX collapse, ETH would have gone to triple digits again. It would have been pushed down by all that extra miner sell pressure, because miners were capitulating on the Bitcoin side, and there's no reason to believe they wouldn't have been doing the same thing on the Ethereum side. So I think that a lot of the fundamental work that has been done has come home to roost, so to speak. Like, this is years in the making. As I mentioned earlier, Ethereum has a long roadmap. It takes years to do things, but it does things that are extremely impactful and continue to impact the network and the community and the ecosystem over longer periods of time. Whereas a lot of these alt ones, they try to take shortcuts, right? They try to get to a position where they think that they can be as dominant as Ethereum, and sometimes they can get to a position where they grow really, really quickly, right? Both on the price side and see some kind of adoption. Maybe that's because they have a massive liquidity mining program, but then it's all short-term games. It doesn't last very long. It doesn't even last a year, really. I mean, we saw the alt one mania happen basically the second half of last year, and then we saw it all fall apart this year, and it fall apart in a very spectacular way. Not just on the prices, as you said, a lot of them are down 95%, but their network activity is down even more. And even the biggest competitors that people considered to be, actual Ethereum killers, like we always hear that term, but people were really serious about it this time. Like, no, Ethereum's finally done it. They've failed to scale, so now these other networks are going to take over. I mean, just to name one, Solana, for example, they have less kind of TVL than chains that I haven't even heard of before. So, like, to put that in perspective, Solana last year was considered the ETH killer. It was going to be the thing that finally dethroned Ethereum, but as DC mentioned, these other L1s have taken shortcuts. They've compromised on specific things, and Solana is definitely a poster child of that, compromising on decentralization to achieve this scale. And in my opinion, they've gone the wrong way about it, and I think we've seen that. But you can take the other side of that and say, okay, well, this is just Solana and the other Altel ones trial by fire. And I'm like, I don't really buy that. I feel like Ethereum is in such a strong position now. Ethereum is solving its scalability issues, and it's not just been about scalability. It's been about so many other things. But Ethereum is in such a strong position compared to what it was last bear market. I mean, 2018 and 2019 was very brutal for Ethereum and for ETH as an asset. But this time around, people can see that ETH, as Ryan said, is not down like anywhere near the amount the other coins are down, right? And it's even up or performing better than Bitcoin. I mean, the ETH BTC ratio is flat on the year. In 2018 and 2019, it went down like 90+%, which was just crazy.
So, Sam, this is where this leads us. He breaks that down pretty good, and I think we rode that wave with all of them. And do you agree with everything? And what do you see as Ethereum? We've seen the Ethereum deflation chart and how much Ethereum is getting burned, and we're in a brutal bear market. Could this just get out of control?
You know, when projects launch, like we've seen them throughout this past year, 2022, where they're like, oh, we have this burning feature, right? Well, when is a burning feature valuable, right? When is it most valuable? It's not at the beginning. Burning doesn't do diddly squat when there's nobody in the fucking network, right? When is it most valuable? When it is at its peak frothiness, right? Because it has a lot of burn. And what's happened with the merge, Ethereum is poised. It's been out for a long time. It also has the largest amount of USD volume traded per day, right? So this, and it's already deflationary, right? In the bottom of a bear market, it's already deflationary. So as we move forward and we get into this bull run, maybe it's the next quarter, maybe it's 4 quarters, maybe it's 7 quarters. I don't know. But as we do,
I like that you said that because you're realistic and you've seen this before, probably.
We don't know. We don't know.
Well, you do kind of know in your head. You feel like it could. Well, you never know exactly, but you understand that something would have to happen. So you're saying 7 months, 8 months, 8 quarters, 4 quarters, 2 quarters. Guys, frankly, this is basically up to innovation at this point and people catching on fast, because blockchain transparent transactions is just as powerful, truthfully, as the internet itself, in my opinion. I think the way transparent finances globally is just as important as the internet, if not more important. And I don't think people see it yet. And I don't think people know why transparent ledger is important.
I agree.
And I think they think blockchain is some sort of like rocket science shit, and it's not at all. It's just transparent. You could see everything. Court cases all day. Oh, that's all they show anymore is court and bullshit. No transparency, zero anything. This is why this is here, and this is why this is disruptive. We need transparency. It's gonna be could be a wild ride.
That transparency and permissionless is extremely important. And when you look at the position of Ethereum relative to any other blockchain, there's lots of people who are passionate about these other ones, but it almost, and I know they bring this up often because I studied it for 10 plus years, but it almost reminds me of Tesla. For years and years and years, still to this day, Tesla's been years ahead of the competition. And when you are perpetually running,
and I think Tesla will be the biggest company in the history of the world.
People think, I said this a couple of years ago, that Tesla is going to be the largest OEM, which is the original equipment manufacturer, say for vehicles, by 2030 or 2031. And people laugh at me like Toyota, VW, they're not going to beat them. These people are utterly clueless. They don't realize how far ahead Tesla is. Now, let's relate
so this. Far ahead, years ahead.
Now relate this, and they don't stop. So it's not like I'm 3 years ahead. Okay, cool.
Exactly. Remember we talked before the show about roadmaps? Like when people have roadmaps and already have momentum and like amazing success, like it gets dangerous because the blockchain is easy for these guys. I feel like it just takes a while to implement. It's not as hard as making a rocket, I can imagine, or like a supercar.
That's a perfect segue. Okay, so what you just said, right? The roadmap. What is that? Effectively, it's a vision for the future of how you want to create reality, right? Tesla did this with their Elon did it with their master plan, right? And then master plan 2, when he created master plan 1 in a record amount of time, then it was master plan 2, right? And what we have here with Ethereum is a very similar situation. They're so far ahead of all the competition on many different metrics, and they're
so far ahead. It's like they're not even playing the game the same.
Exactly.
That's why it's weird. I don't like people like this guy. Like Tesla's gonna crash. I'm like, what do you mean Tesla's gonna crash? Like, what are all the cars gonna explode? Like, my neighbor is a crackhead. He's got one. Like, everyone's got one.
There's people, right, that think Ethereum's gonna die, and that's one of those guys, right?
Well, Ethereum would only die if something super specific as fuck happened, and it was like for the people in the United States. But I don't really think it could die like everywhere.
It won't die, right? But the people who think Tesla's going to die are the same type of people who think blockchain's going to go away, right? Like it's just they're not at the stage in their life where they understand reality yet, right? They just can't comprehend it.
Well, like they don't understand how far ahead Elon is mentally, why he doesn't sit around and talk to everybody and shit all day long, and like probably has shit relationships with his wife and all that stuff, because he's a fucking got the best company in the world. That's like not the easiest thing to do, and I think he does a stand-up job, frankly. Sam, let's get right. I want to get right. Go ahead.
So sorry. So think about that. Tesla, like the Ethereum, is like Tesla, but it's in blockchain. Ethereum's so far ahead, they actually have a vision that's beyond like the next 6 to 12, 13 months, where a lot of blockchains are like, we're going to do this, this, and this. They have the next quarter. Right, we have like 5 different stages to get to this thing, and we don't have any. I don't have any faith that these 5 stages are going to be finished in 2023, maybe 2030. Right? They've got like sharding, and then they've got like sharding 2.0, and then they've got.
And who knows? Like who knows? Like who knows what even people even care about at that point? But they're doing it. They're going. They're doing it. And I have a feeling that they're years ahead, and I have a feeling that all the other layer ones that are popular have to wait for him to finish. Another cool thing about being the dominant layer one is they wait for you to finish, and then they sell all their people your same thing. And there's time in between that. Like there's real time where they implement something and everyone else is scrambling to figure out how to copy it and scrambling how to figure out how to keep up with his next move. So and that's probably how Tesla is too. They probably just have to study him and figure out what to do with their cars. That's probably how they do it. I can only imagine. Like there's somebody in every one of those car companies who basically just like studies all their like press releases and all their documentation, because of course that's probably where the best of the best minds are for this right now. And what else can you do? There's only so many guys that can be at the top of the game at one time. Vitalik's at the top of the game.
Yes, and they're so far ahead of everybody else. I'm bullish on Ethereum. I think that we're at like this very beginning point before shit like the rest of society starts getting into crypto. Where are they going to go? Where are they going to go? They're not going to go to all these other shit fucking L1s.
They might go to Bitcoin if they can figure out how to do it.
They might go to Bitcoin, and then where are they going to go next? Ethereum.
And if they figure out that Bitcoin can't scale, they don't have a roadmap, and then they don't have anyone working on it. Well, I don't want to say that's the truth, but you know what I mean? It's a harder scale situation when it comes to after the merge, things really changed dramatically. We have to wait for a little legislation. We got to wait for some things, but it could be a brutal 1.5 years, 2 years. It really, really could. But best case scenario, like innovation does its thing and the humans stay out of it and things started moving quicker than we think. But humans have a funny way of creating pandemic viruses. Like Sam, like it's almost as simple as that. Like it's like I always say, like, will that price chart go down if a nuke goes off in China? Probably.
And we know that humans will do stupid, like idiotic stuff that is not right, that is not in the best interest of everybody, that is specifically spiteful to hurt people. Like that shit does happen from people in power because they want more power and they don't give a F about you whatsoever. So if it
happens with the YouTube channels too. Like I watch a bunch of YouTube channels, check everyone out. People think that, and I'm not saying this like bragging really, but there's some guys that think I'm smart probably, and they've watched my channel, and that's cool. That's exactly what I want. But I don't follow anyone else to figure out exactly what I'm going to say or like do. Like I want to talk. I think that I have value, and that's why I think my channel does all right. But like, if you think you don't have value unless you're hawking other people's shit and not paying attention to like, I think I'm the best of the best. Like, I think that when it comes to sitting down and focusing and doubling down and discipline, like I can just outdo most people. And so watching other people try to copy someone else's kind of flow, it's unfortunate because they're not going to get anywhere. It has nothing to do with me care. I don't give a shit if you copy my flow. Like nobody can flow like me about the way that I am. But you have to have a really clear conscience. Like you have to know who you are to a degree, because you remember the image you project is the image you must protect. And like if you're projecting a wild ass image that's not you, you know that's going to crumble. So like you just got to be you, like double you, because there's a lot of people just like you, for sure.
And how can you possibly be the best if you're copying somebody else? You're copying the best. You can't like be the best if you're copying something else.
But I don't think people think they are the best.
I agree.
So that's the whole thing. It's like I want people to realize that they are the best at what
I agree.
they're the best at.
I say that, and I tell people that I'm fucking better than you every single day, and they get so irritated and pussy. But like literally, you can't be better than me at living my life. Like I don't care what you think about yourself, but you should be the best at you, at doing you and how you live your life, the most authentic version of you, and you should think you're the best. Completely agree.
100%. And people hate, like, dude, I've been getting hate since I was in elementary school. Why? Because I was boisterous. I was fun, and I was willing to fight, and I was willing to do whatever, and I was having a good time most of the time. But I was a wild little child. But people, I've been in the principal's office since I was a baby. Everyone told me I was I know how it feels to be like, completely different from everyone or feel different or like push. And it just makes you realize life is faster. Everyone is different, and you have to find what you're good at, and you have to push in that direction. And everyone's going to tell you to stop and that you're going to fuck up. And your bills might stack up. You might not have as much money. But if you put in effort every single day, you win. But if you put in effort in the wrong way, you will lose too. Like you have to know that you're the right guy for the job. You have to actually feel like you're the right guy for the job. Like I watch other people's stuff and I'm like, like they're not up for the task. They're not up for the task at hand. They just want to get it over with. And yeah, that happens to everyone on occasion. But like this should be your life's passion, your life's mission, and whatever that is, you cannot stop someone if they have a goal and a mission. That's for real. And they think they can get there. I don't think you can stop people.
You can't. This is going to be a beautiful next decade as we, continue to distill all the information that was like in silos. Is all those silos. Do you know what a silo is, right? They use them in farming.
For like putting hay in them.
Grain and shit like that. Yeah, right. It's this vertical thing like this, right? It's a silo is what they call it. And these silos you can think about those as silos of information, right? So they might have silos of like the best farming ways of doing things in certain, maybe like Idaho or shit like that. Or you can think of it in finances, like there's a silo in New York and that's where all that information resided. Or in tech in California, right? There's a silo and that's where it has resided. But with the internet, with things like this, we're live, right? All of this is happening globally. So these silos are breaking down. All that grain, which is valuable information, is now seeping out to the marketplace. This next decade is going to be the most abundant decade the globe has ever seen. Yes, there's a lot of crazy shit.
And if you're a young man, there's only a few things that you have to do. And it's basically what you have to not do, because you're going to fuck it. You're just going to suck at everything for the next couple of years, but try your hardest. Understand the only things that you can, if you have a child with doing it in an improper way with someone you maybe don't trust, you're screwed. If you get some sort of disease from doing things wild, you're in trouble. And if you do anything that'll like drastically change your life, like if you go to prison, if you do if you start doing hardcore drugs, if you start like hedonistic absolute madness, these are the only things that can take you out as a youngster. All you have to do is survive until you can understand, because it takes a few years, because your deed does a lot of the thinking. But once you can get it out of your system, just don't. I break all the rules, but I don't do anything illegal. You know what I mean? Like I've always done the things that people would say, you cannot do that. I'm like, well, this doctor says I can do it. Fuck you. Like, but I'm always put myself in a position where I would not, have some big, prison date coming or something like this. Like other than, when I was really young. But you got to stay safe. If you're just going to have a kid and stuff, like, you're not investing. Bye. You're screwed.
But also remember, as you get big enough, if you're big enough, it doesn't matter what the rules are, not from the sense of like you want it to do, but from the people in power. If you get big enough and you create enough influence, they'll come after you and just change the rules, period. Like, look at Donald Trump. Look what they're doing to Andrew Tate. Anybody who builds, who's not a talking piece of the system, they'll just change the rules. So whatever you, like, hey, you're not doing anything illegal, cool, let's change the rules so what he is doing is now illegal to put you in jail. Or take
is he in jail? Is he still in jail?
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll talk about that one. I think I got one more video. Let's just think for a second. Let's get back to we talking about Ethereum today, basically. Why, I play around on Binance a little bit, guys, but in general, I focus on Ethereum as far as like, if I'm making methodical decisions, I'm going to try to do it on Ethereum because I think Ethereum, and this is something Richard Hart said all the time, is the most secure. And I think he means secure from a couple different angles, not necessarily like software secure, but more so like it's written in stone. If you know what I mean? Like, I remember looking at Ethereum on the thing when I was like 20, sitting there looking at Bitcoin. I had no idea what it was, but I was like, what is this? Is Ethereum some sort of rock? But it was there. It was 10 years ago, 5 years, however long ago. It's 7 or 8 years ago. And that's crazy to think about. Like, it was probably $14, $34, $50 then. I don't remember. And I thought it was a rock. I literally thought it was a rock. And if you were in my situation, you would have no reason to think it was anything but a rock. I was living in a halfway house when I remember that shit. Like, I was like, that's got to be some cool rock. Oh God, I'm so stupid. But anyway,
we're gonna look back in 5 years from today and be like, holy shit, we were so ahead of everybody else. Like, no joke. But anyways, let's get into this video. This is on Ethereum. This is a later part of the Top Gwei dude, and he's getting into some good points here. So let's get into this.
Yeah. Well, this is a different. This might not be the Gwei guy as much. This is a little. Just listen up, hold tight, and I hope these guys don't just. Guys, I have every single one of my videos is not monetized. Every single, like, literally, there's like 3 that are. So just understand, like, I'm pretty aware that when I play clips, like, all that stuff goes down, and I really don't care.
There's something called fair use. So if we use other people's content in the term of like journalism, as in like, hey, let's cover this guy's video and then talk about it, that's called fair use, and it is perfectly legal to do so.
Cool. I just don't want to boot my channel. So if I ever get booted, guys, we'll just do it on Sam's channel or the CITM channel, but hopefully get my channel back at some point, because I really just do the show for the most part and then like jump around from here to there. I'm also doing an interview with Nate Stakes on his channel. He's interviewing me, and he's asked me for a while. So I'm doing that today at like 6 p.m. So if you guys are into that sauce it.
At the top of the 2018, 2017 bull market, it blows my mind. Look, I think honestly, when I look at the space right now, like the next 2 years are going to be probably, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think if you're in the space right now, be committed and be focused on this long-term vision. But Ether, in my opinion, is on the verge of becoming the most important decentralized crypto asset, and certainly the most important decentralized crypto financial asset. And it's going to become the world's best natively programmable asset. And there's basically unchallenged for that use case and for its level of liquidity and fungibility. I think that's huge. And I mean, Justin alluded to this as well, but as you guys know, I'm super bullish on NFTs as well. NFTs as a whole ecosystem, and there's going to be a lot more than art and collectibles. But some of these art and collectibles have held up surprisingly well through what has been a heinous bear market so far. These are being held by collectors as true store of value assets. And I think having like store of value assets on Ethereum that are not just Ether only makes Ether even stronger, to be honest. It creates a virtuous cycle and economy that can build around that. So I don't, in the past, I know some people have viewed those things as potentially threatening to Ether. I think that's totally the wrong way to look at it. Ethereum is the only public blockchain which has a significant economy of digital goods and services on it, period. And I think that's just going to increase by leaps and bounds over the course of the next 4 years.
I think that For me, one of the most bullish things that has happened is that I guess like supply change that we had with the merge, right? That massive issuance reduction, which is basically almost 100%, right? If we were still on proof of work, we would have issued, I think, 1.1 million ETH net of the burn. So that's including the burn. And then with proof of stake, with post merge, then this is since the merge, we've only issued 1,294 ETH, which is almost a 100% reduction in net issuance in 3 months. And today it's been 90 days, so it's been about 3 months since the merge. Now, of course, against USD, ETH has done nothing since the merge, and we all know that, right? But I look at ETH against other assets, and looking at against Bitcoin, it has performed so extremely well against Bitcoin in a bear market, which basically destroys every narrative that has gone on about Bitcoin being the flight to safety asset in bear markets, right? Now, if ETH is the flight to safety asset in a bear market, if ETH is the best performing asset in a bear market, what's it going to do in a bull market when we don't have this minor sell pressure, when we have the burn offsetting a lot of the issuance because activity goes up? What happens when people realize that the staking APYs or APRs are so good and you're getting it on an appreciating asset as well as time goes on? What happens when people realize that ETH is the only decentralized digital commodity money, programmable digital commodity money in existence? And not only is not only does it exist in such a way that makes its value accrue to itself. It doesn't just exist and the value leaks to everything around it. The value accrues to itself. The value accrues to holders. No longer is value accruing to miners who don't hold the ETH. They're forced to sell. It is now accruing to stakers, which are much less likely to sell because their costs are much lower, but they're also much more aligned with being ETH holders because they hold ETH. Like miners didn't have to hold ETH. They held ASICs, right? They held mining machines. So it was kind of like that split there. And then we also have the burn, which obviously all the activity or most of the activity that happens on the network burns ETH and brings it back into ETH as an asset, as a value accrual mechanism. So you take all that into account, and like, I don't know how you can be bearish on ETH. I mean, even in the bear market, the gas prices obviously are much lower, but we're still burning millions of dollars of ETH per day. And that's all going to pay dividends when demand.
Sam asked me earlier if I could get this guy on the show, and I said once he finds out about Zen, he'll come on the show. And I have emailed him, but and he has a lot of fans, a lot. Seriously, he does a God's work on there. So I want to talk about Zen for a second because Jack states that Ethereum became deflationary because of Zen. At the moment,
No
like
joke.
it did. At the moment that it did, but he says that still to this day. And I know that's marketing 101, but like.
So what do you think about Zen and price appreciation? We were talking about this before the show, and I don't think that I see something in the near term that is going to be a catalyst to drastically increase the price of Zen. And I want to give you the big reason why. With the collector NFTs or a bulk minter, if I can put in $1,000 for say let's check the price of it right now. I think it's.
And when he's done talking, we're not done talking about this, fam. So get your minds right. Where he wants to talk about this a little bit, and he's been thinking about it the last 2 days, and I've been thinking about it the last 2 days too. So we're going to talk about this for a minute, and there are a couple 1 minute, 2 minute videos associated with this that were launched today that we'll watch, like in between, because I think a couple of people have similar thoughts to you, but I want to be specific. Let's get specific.
Okay, so say we do a batch mint with $1,000, and that yields 2 billion Zen, right? So 2 billion Zen times the current price, which is 5024 roughly, is $4,800. Now say that $1,000 for the collector NFT, and that is a term of 30 days, meaning you take $1,000 batch mint Zen for 30 days, that yields 2 billion Zen in 30 days, or in USD terms, $4,800. People are going to do this and sell the price down until it's not profitable for
Sam, I know. You're so right. Okay. True. like everything he says is true, and I totally do agree. But there's some dynamics here that are a little different. I think the newness and the low market cap and low supply, and the fact that there's some rich guys that are just like this stuff now, and because of Jack or because of Google or because of whatever. And, you know, they're doing things right now to take a lot of the supply off. But remember what we said about a roadmap? Sure. Jack's roadmap is like, he's so excited right now. And you can't take that away from me. When I created this show when I was excited, and you know, I don't know if I could recreate that whole magic like right now. Like I don't know if I have it in me, but I tell you what, right back then I had it in me. Real, like I was not stopping for nothing. I was streaming for 4 hours a day to get 100 likes every. I would stream until I got 100 likes on the stream. It would take like 4 hours, and I would just tell everyone to like the stream the whole time. I was like, I'm going, and that's how you get some of these fans, right?
So what I think.
Sorry, I totally fucked that.
No, that's another point that I wrote down.
Yeah.
So I agree. There's a roadmap for Zen, right? Jack has some interesting things potentially planned. The growth in terms of holders and users and awareness, mind share of Zen is explosive and has been explosive. It's only been 3 months, but it's still explosive. Now, if this trajectory continues, if Zen can continue to explode, if Zen can continue to accelerate the number of people who are aware of Zen, who are in Zen, who own Zen, right, and who
OpenSea, dude, people see this stuff on OpenSea. We don't know much about that life, but I'm telling you, when these things are getting listed and traded on OpenSea, that pops up on all the OpenSea radar. And it just has more exposure. I think it's a lot to do with exposure, future price appreciation, near future, because big guys are buying up the supply and everyone thinks it's going to zero. Sam, I've seen this game play a million times. It's like the liquidity's drying up to the point where there's just going to be nothing left. And then it pistons because of a small buy. It's not or something reasonable, right? It's just because it's just a time thing. At some point, supply goes poo. Rich guys have been buying it. Poor guys have been selling it. And I get worried that it's going to merge into like an extremely centralized entity.
So that's where I was going with this. Yeah. Now think about this, right? If we continue to see this growth, where more and more and more people are in the crypto space. Remember, the crypto space as of a year ago was approximately 3.5% of the global population. Maybe it's 6%, maybe it's 8% today, right? Now, if this percentage of people in crypto continue to, that Zen as a portion of the total continues to expand and grow, what does that do? It presents opportunities that people can't comprehend today. Does that mean creating an entire new blockchain? Does that mean now everybody is aware of this thing and they start using this for transactions? Does this mean that like there's something new that we have?
What if there's a video game that comes out and it only has Zen?
Right?
For the currencies. Probably will happen, dude. Like Jack's insane. And his work rate is faster than mine, and that's great. And more effective, clearly. But he's insane. Like he's up, he's at it, he's ready, he's working out, he's doing pull-ups, he's doing push-ups, he's doing, you know what I mean? Like seriously, like he sends me pictures sometimes. Dude's crushing it. What is Zen? Zen is an ERC20 that is immutable, that has no admin keys, but had a fair mint distribution off the jump. All you need to do to mint Zen, started at a supply of 0. All you needed to do to mint Zen was go to zen.network, put in the certain amount of days. At this point, you can do up to 440 days. It started at a max of 100. And there's an exponential rate that slowly declines over time. And it's just a Bitcoin, basically, but it doesn't burn any energy. And you just mint it by paying a gas fee, 1 BMU gas fee on Ethereum. And then that's how the coins are in existence. So there's no pre-allocation to the founder. And that's a big reason why Zen's really important, because there was no pre-allocation to the founder. And that's a big, trust me, these legislators, they pay attention to that stuff. I listen. and they're getting locked in. They're figuring this stuff out. They're figuring out about regurgitated liquidity within these pools, like who's really making the money around here. And so yeah, it's just an ERC20 that you can buy, stake, and trade, and it has really efficient staking, really efficient end staking, which I like.
What would you say? Tim Crane asks, to sell him on Zen. Why should I get into it? Now, I'm going to touch on this, and then I want to hear your thoughts on this. I'm not going to say that you should get into Zen. I think that understanding the best practices in crypto, like a fair distribution, like immutable code, like something that's permissionless, all of these things that come with a well-designed crypto for the people, I think you should understand, right? But should you buy Zen? I don't know. That's up to you and what your life goals are and what you're trying to achieve.
Well, I don't think you should buy Zen. I think you should mint it. Sam, every mint for the first, I think after day 30 was profitable. Every single one. Every single one. That means not one was not profitable. Those are the numbers that I look at, right? Like you could just batch mint and do it right, or you can be a DJ. But if you just batch mint, like now you're basically in the same position that I am. Maybe I got a better rate, of course, but you know what I mean? Like I did like 6 or 7 accounts. I bought the bottom once, and I faffed around a little bit, but other than that, I just sit on the sidelines. I don't really care because I trust that. But it's risky. All of this is risky. Jack's not a rocket scientist. This is like he's not the Lord of Savior. Like he's just a guy with a little bit of want to, and a passion, and some prior skills in all of this region, being that he worked for Google. So it's called betting on a horse. Sometimes too. Like I see a roadmap with Ethereum. I see a roadmap with Zen. I see a roadmap with BNBP, and I see a roadmap with all of the coins that I have. Otherwise, I wouldn't buy them. Do you know what I mean? And the reflection token. I need Sam to understand the reflection token. So this was right after you got off, literally like 5 minutes after you got off. And then they got it on. And then Jack, this was right before launch. And Jack started talking about the reflection token. And I said, oh, hold up, everyone, hold up. What's the reflection token? Reflection token. And it's a token that you get for burning, Sam. Burning Zen. So just stick with me. Because he told this for the first time on the show right after you got off. And I had a wild couple days, and so let's play it back, and you just tell me to stop when you want, all right? Because I don't like to hear myself too much, so I'm gonna just sit here and shut the fuck up.
Okay.
Some of us are plebs. Come on, teach.
Teach. So do you want to go, Axel, or should I?
So I can like start off a little bit. Start off, and then you pick up the crumbs. Correct me. Now, if you have Zen, what kind of incentives can we create in order to burn Zen or whatever? You need to, in order for you to burn Zen, it needs to be done into something that's going to be worth more. So with reflection, we can create something that, let's say we create a new token which has a limited supply of, let's say, 100 million, and then you create, you're also using the fact that you have many other users that could compete with each other. So let's say the issuance of these 100 million tokens would be split up. So you would incentivize early adoption. So you would have, for instance, 5 million that would be issued the first month. And the only way to get those tokens would be to burn Zen. And if we are 2 people who burn Zen, I burn 2 billion Zen and Jack burns 1 billion Zen, then I would get 60%, 66%, 2/3 of that issuance that month.
So you get 2 shares, I get 1 share.
Exactly. And then the next month you would have, so the first month would be like, say, 5 million. The next month it could be 4,900,000 or something, smaller. So it would be increasingly going smaller and smaller and smaller. So you're incentivized to do this earlier on, because in month 50 or whatever, there might just be like 700,000 left or something. That more people. So the longer adoption spreads and the longer it takes, the more people would be competing for the same amount of limited tokens.
This is fascinating.
Are you sticking with them, Sam?
I am. Yes. Yes.
Oh God, Sam is so smart. I lost him, and I did the interview, and I lost him. Sam, please, I'm going to keep it up. I'm going to let it go. If you want me to stop, just
please.
stop.
So for what he said so far, right, is that the supply of this token B, right, Zen 2 reflection token, whatever we want to call it, the supply is going to be limited in terms of there's the amount of inflation, where Zen is unlimited inflation, right? So with this, they're going to cap that, and they're going to say the most amount of inflation is happening in the beginning, right? This is very common. So have a lot of that, and it's going to track down over time. Now, do you remember and you're going to like this too, because it's another copy or another iteration on the adoption amplifier. Remember how the adoption amplifier in Hex, you put in something and then you get Hex back at the end of the day, depending on how many people put in to get that amount, right? So if you and I put in, right, the equal amounts, then you and I would split the total amount of issuance for that day, right? But if there was 37 people who put in, then we'd all get 1/37th, assuming we would put in equal amounts. So that idea, but instead of on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, and you burn Zen and you get this other thing in return. So the adoption amplifier.
Thank God for Sam Stoll. Thank God for Sam Stoll. I hope Sam never leaves the show, because Sam, these details, it sometimes when you've been looking at the same thing for a while, it gets like sloshed together in a way. And I'm like trying to keep track of ASICs now, because I see a lot of volume over there. So I kind of participated over there a little bit, just a little bit, nothing crazy. And I think that's interesting. Interesting.
So think about that though. We've had this conversation off screen, right? But like the adoption amplifier with this versus all the other things that Jack has done.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Every day is an adoption amplifier in Zen, for real, because things are happening now that unrecognizable compared to the future, and the liquidity is drying up, which makes me happy as a clam. That's too much liquidity off the jump.
I don't think liquidity is going to dry up too much more personally. I don't.
Well, no, I know, but it's enough where someone with a serious amount of money could really pop that boy and get everyone one-sided on the LP, and you know how that rolls.
The amount of volume in Zen over the last 24 hours.
1.2 million.
Versus the amount of liquidity. Remember that ratio I told you about? It's
probably 2.5 now, 2.5 ratio or 1.
Yeah, it's a 3. It's a 3. So that means anybody who likes LP.
That's electric.
Anybody who likes LP, right? If you could earn fees on your money 3 times a day or just once a day, what would you rather do?
Hey, will you can you do full range on that and make any money?
You could do full range. You're going to make less in fees.
I know, but like it's so volatile that you're probably going to lose to a side eventually. But like if you full range it with like 10 grand, are you going to make a good amount of money?
I personally wouldn't do full range. I might do like say the
full range. Yeah.
I would just cut it in slightly, but do it so it doesn't. You don't have to adjust it very frequently. Still do very, very wide range.
Yeah, Zen LP is brutal. It's brutal. It's brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah. But let's get back into this reflective.
Yeah, Sam, please keep that thinking cap of yours on, because Jack's about to go into his segment. This is a long video too. Remember, guys, I streamed 8 hours on this day, so give me a little shellacky poo.
So that's one thing. But then you could also from that create other kinds of incentives. So to like how do you incentivize people then to have this to get this limited token, but also to stay in that limited token? And this is where a reflection comes in, because you could be faced with like two scenarios here where you could either get the token and like sell it after you have it, or you could be given an incentive to keep it. Whereas if you stake it, you would earn like more. So you could take part of the burning that goes on with the Zen initially, and then use that as distribution for the stakers as the yield.
So let's cover the the three major points right here with the new token. So a reflection token, number one, it's capped, so 100 million in total and no more than 100 million. And the emission happens every 30 days, and it's a declining emission, which means we have, and also obviously the time is limited too. So the time would be five years. 5 years is 60 months. Every month we would emit, or the contract would emit, a declining number of tokens. So 5 million the first month, 4,900,000 the next, 4 million, 4.8, 4.7, 4.6, until it goes all the way down to 1, essentially. So on the month number 60, the emission is done. That's it. No more emissions, and the supply is capped. Now, that's number one item in the tokenomics.
100 million?
100 million cap. 5 years emissions. Every month, emissions are declining by some percentage point. So it could be like 3%, could be 5%. So every month, there's less and less to be produced. Now, that's the production aspect. Now, how can we make people compete to get those tokens? So what they can do is they can compete by burning Zen. So if 3 of us are within the ecosystem, and there's only 3 of us, and each one of us have Zen, then we can compete with each other for the monthly emissions. So Zensu could be burning 2 billion, I'm burning 1 billion, and Jimrad is burning half a billion, which means that Zensu gets 2 shares, I get 1 share, and Jimrad gets half a share. Now, Jimrad might say, wait a second, those guys are getting the most, and I'm getting the least. You're gonna feel like adding to the burn, at least to make it equal in terms of shares.
Make it reflexive.
So yeah, reflexive. So we would encourage people to compete with their burn, and we will show a dashboard, a leaderboard, who is burning the most and what the ratios of the distribution for the first month. So the 3 of us, if there's only 3 of us playing, we're going to end up competing who burns the most and who gets the most of the new token. So that's great for Zen, because Zen becomes even more deflationary, and we're competing based on our holdings of Zen. Now, let's say that for the sake of argument, now we have equalized our shares, we have decided to burn 2 billion each, and now we have a 33% each coming from this 5 million emission on the first month. So we're splitting the pie by 3 equal shares. Now here's the interesting part, and that's where the reflection comes from. So Zensu decides to mint and to put the new token in his wallet. Jimrad does the same thing. What I will do, I will not mint, I will stake the new token for a year. So when I stake my token and I don't drop it in my wallet, I get extra 10% that you guys actually will be paying me. So for not having the delayed gratification, your reward is less, and I get more reward through a reflection of your action. So specifically, if you grab the tokens, you actually will end up leaving some on the table for me. So even though the pie chart was equal, 33% each, Now you guys are taking 30% back and you're leaving 3% each for me. So in my case, if I keep it staked and I don't grab it, I get extra 6%. So I was at 33%. Now I get 6% more. And now by not grabbing everything right away, by not minting it right away, by staking it for a long period of time, I get this extra bonus, extra 6%. So that's where the reflection comes from, user action. Now, if all of us stake, then we remain at 33% each. But but now imagine this is millions of people playing. And a lot of people are like, I just want to mint and sell. They're going to mint and sell, but they're going to leave this extra bonus percentages on the table that will be distributed to the stakers. So that will allow the yield to be generated by people who are delaying gratification, who are staking for a long time, who are locking in the new token, and actually getting yield. So anybody who holds new token in the contract staked will be generating yield from all the degens that they just want to dump it on the market. So the incentives will be such as that the not only token is capped, but also at the same time has the yield that is getting paid by all the people who are leaving the network. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, Jack.
So what effectively he's saying, right, is you and I say participate in burning Zen to get this reflexive token. And when we do this, we each get 50. Say you put in 1 billion Zen, I put in 1 billion Zen to burn. Then you get 50% of the monthly supply. I get 50% of the monthly supply of this token that's going to be issued on a 30-day basis for 60 months. Now, I decide to stake mine, and you're like, oh damn, I can get a double on my shit, and you decide to take it and sell it. Well, you would get 45% of that monthly total, or 10% less. It sounds like, from what he's saying, 10% less as you put into your wallet. That 10% then goes to me. Now, here's the question I would have on this. If I staked for 30 days and then I pull that out, am I getting penalized? Am I getting that 10% reduction in how much I get? I would like to know that, because he doesn't cover that. I don't know if he gets into it shortly, but I want to know, after a stake ends, do I get penalized? And what is the minimum amount of time that you can stake? Does he get into some of these details as you?
I don't remember, but we can play it for the
Yeah,
next.
finish. Let's get back into this.
Let's get back into it. And sorry, guys, I'm just answering some emails and stuff while I go. But Sam's getting all the information he needs right now, and we're excited for the future. So let's get it going. And smash that like button if you're in here. What the hell? Smash that like button. Hit the bell. Share it out. Let everyone know I'm here every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern. So, Sam, on the 19th, I'm leaving. Can you just do the show about whatever for 7 days?
Yeah.
That would be fucking amazing.
Yes.
Because I'm going to be somewhere far in the depths.
Let's talk about that after. Let's
get right back into it. It makes a lot of sense, but I'm wondering, why are you trolling everyone so hard with all of these awesome incentives with the first principle? It's like, it's almost, this is just how I see it. It's like, I guess you have a good situation and you know how to do a lot of this blockchain stuff. And we see a lot of people asking for so much money and then waiting. And I'm not pointing anyone out in particular. To be honest, you see this all over the place. This is not new. But as so much money is transferred and so much, and now you're doing this reflexive token. So guys like me, you know what guys like me were thinking? We thought we were cute. We thought we could stay and use that price appreciation and just sell some of our bag. But now I'm like, damn, I could use my bag. And this is how it comes into play as a user. Now I'm thinking, God, okay, well, I'll take that portion of my bag. Maybe I should add that extra incentive. It's just another incentive.
So
yeah, but let's not forget, like the whole everything that's built on this builds utility for Zen. In that you need to burn Zen in order to participate, right? So you could just like keep Zen, or you could like find something that's appealing within this for you to
or you could
participate in this as well.
I try to do all of it.
So here's the end result. If Zen is cash, the new token is something that you stake for a long time and you get yield. It's kind of like a bond that gets reflection from all other players, millions of players. They're paying you by not staking. So you can convert Zen to a yield generating asset, digital asset that burns Zen, so makes Zen obviously more scarce. But this new project, this new token will embed the scarcity and the benefits to the people who are forced not to sell because they're staking. They're forced. I mean, they're not forced. They would say like, listen, I have burned 20 billion Zen on this. I am not dumping it. I'm holding it because I'm getting yield every month. So every month when the emissions happen, all of the people, and this actually comes with the 2080 rule. Are we familiar with the 2080 Pareto distribution? So let's say that 20% of people are smart and 80% of people are not so smart. They just want to exit. So those people who are exiting are paying the 20% who are holding. So converting Zen to a yield-bearing digital asset in the form of a new token is a vertical derivative on top of the Zen's ecosystem that helps people who are holding Zen too, because if those people are not participating and they're just holding Zen, and Zen is getting burned by this new protocol, this new token, they get benefit too, because it's just not as much benefit. But this is what's coming. This is what's coming.
Right,
Things like that is what we're creating.
It's very exciting. Yeah, so it's like a token distribution model again, where you have to compete for the allocations. You have to be incentivized to burn Zen in order to do so. And at the time of mint, so to speak, you're given basically two options: to either mint it and but then pay like sort of a 10% penalty distributed to stakers as yield, or you stake it for like minimum a year or something.
So
then you're
you can
acquiring that yield.
So you can call it penalty, or you can call it less of a reward for yourself. And people who are following the proper behavior, making the holding the new token close, they get a benefit every month. Now this is 60-month project would have been, or the tokenomics would indicate that there's at least 60 events that will pay you the yield, right? So if you hold it for the whole 60-month period, you're collecting yield through the community participation and the community action of this economic outcome, technically.
Okay, let me say something. Jack, you move quick, bro. And that's all I got to say about that. Two, I want to know, what have you seen these? What does this compare to the most? It reminds me of V2 liquidity providing with some different verbiage and some different software. It's like almost to a degree, like let's say I have Binance and BNB. Yeah, I could put all my BNB into the liquidity pool and I could earn fees on that while people trade and just lose their fee. They're technically getting that worse end of that deal, I guess. But it's just another way to earn yield on your tokens. Correct?
Exactly.
I would say, first of all, like all of this is.
It's just another way to earn yield on your token, right?
Yeah, but you don't get to retain that token. And then what's the utility of that token? Other than, well, I guess it's just the yield, right? So
that's what I mean.
The Senzu did mention that it's a 1-year minimum, right? So that means if you stake it for, say, if you take 1 billion Zen, you burn it for this reflexive token in month 1, which, if depending on how many parties are involved in month 1, you get a proportion of that total, right? So if you got say 10% of the pool because there was 9 other people who also did $1 billion, and all 9 of those people took their shit out, then you would get another 9%, right? So you get 90% more value by you being in the percentage of people who actually staked, right? Then month number 2 happens, right? And then the same thing happens in month number 2. You could build a very large position in that. How will the value of that stand up? We don't know. I don't know. I definitely is there like a white paper or something on this reflexive token?
Probably not yet, but maybe, and we'll look at all this. But we do actually have to go.
Yes, we do. Thank you guys. Happy New Year's. I hope everybody's doing awesome.
Happy New Year, everyone. 2023. Let's make it as good as we can. Guys, we're all going to make mistakes. But just remember,
you're not Joe Biden's son. Sorry.
If you are honest with everyone around you and trying your best, most of the time you'll be all right. So just try to do that at a minimum. Don't be doing anything crazy, guys. Focus up. Try to find your mission and attack it with full force. Peace and love. Yeah. Hold on. I wanna play the Zen Education.
That intro, that thing that you the Zen intro thing with the dancing, that's a really good one.
We love that here at Crypto in the Morning. So let's just get it straight into it, guys. All right, have an amazing day, everyone. Peace, love, happiness, prosperity, the whole entire dangy.
I love this.